What's going on, everybody, and welcome to an R&D style video. I don't normally do videos like this because it's basically either impossible or very difficult to structure things in such a way that people can follow along. But in these times, I think people are pretty starved for content, so I thought, I could do a video on at least some of the stuff that I do that you guys really never see. So a project like what I've been working on here with this chatbot is kind of so big and so just complex that probably there will never be a series from like start to finish of doing what I'm doing here. So instead, I thought it would be kind of interesting to try out kind of like a more R&D style type video, as well as at least towards the middle and maybe the end. What I can do is I can leave what I'm going to try to work on here is scoring chatbot output. And I think I'm going to do some very rudimentary scoring and then later kind of talk about next steps. But then also what I can do is kind of have an output of these chatbot outputs and then see if anybody can come up with some better ideas for scoring. Of course, credit all given to anybody who does or if they do. So, also on the note of content starvation, still lots of people asking about neural networks from scratch. Two things. The videos, my hope is to get them coming out sooner than I kind of had initially planned, just because, again, I think so many people are kind of just stuck at home with nothing to do. And so it would be nice to start putting out those videos. But if you are just dying for some content, as a reminder, the draft for the book is online right now. There's thousands of people with access. If you pre-order the book or even just the ebook, you get access, usually same day access to that draft, and so you can read it, you can highlight, ask questions in line, and so on. So anyway, and that draft is basically everything from, at the moment, from coding a neuron to actually full forward pass, back propagation, actually training the model. And then coming out very, very soon is testing, regularization, like L1, L2 regularization, and dropout. So that is about to be pushed probably within a week or so to the draft. So anyway, definitely check those out, and you can get access, like I said, right now. Otherwise, the videos, my hope is soon, but I really don't know. I really wanted to take my time on those videos and make them good. So I really don't want to rush them, but I'm thinking of maybe moving some things around so we can kind of do those sooner than I had hoped, or planned. So anyway, back to what we're going to do here. What I've got is what this is a chatbot, but it's based on the Google's NMT, which is Neural Machine Translation. The kind of concept of NMT was or is to convert from one language to another, which is a highly complex task, especially depending on the language. So something like converting, English input to German or something like that. What I thought of doing a very long time ago, though, was what if we use it to English, so an English comment to an English response. And it turned out that actually kind of works. It's definitely a hack. I don't think this is how it was intended to be done, but this is kind of what I've been playing with for, honestly, years. And so I really should just do something else with my time, but I'm very interested in this concept. So what we've been working with is Reddit data, so it's Reddit comments and responses. There is a chatbot tutorial. If you go to pythonprogramming.net and just type chatbot, this is the same thing, basically. It's the NMT chatbot. Now there's a couple of tweaks, but that's what we're dealing with. So the model that I've been training is a 20 total layers. It's 10 layers encoder, 10 layer decoder, and then 1,024 nodes per layer. So just an absolutely massive model. And I've been able to do that with a batch size of I think it's at 128 right now, thanks to the two RTX 8000s. So yeah, that's the model I've been training, but I just can't get the perfect model. So at, let's say, 100,000 steps, the model answers some questions really well, but then still fails at other questions. And then at 120,000 steps, let's say, it answers those other questions that it wasn't answering well, but then kind of screws up some other questions. So then I started thinking, what if I treated this more like an ensemble where you take many models and you kind of put them together. So historically, I've used ensembles in like a sort of voting classifier sort of way where, you know, let's say you're trying to predict a class of a thing. Yeah, it can be nice to have just one model, but almost always you do way better if you're willing to have like 5 models all predict, and then they run a vote on which class they think is most likely. This tends to actually perform better than any one model will ever. So then I was wondering, well, you know, this isn't really a prediction. It's not like a regression necessarily. But what I could do is just take all of the possible outputs and then take their scores or make new scores and then figure out which one of, like, really what we'll wind up with is hundreds of outputs. Then we can pick one, because surely one of them is a good one, right? So let me show you what a single model looks like, and then we'll jump into the ensemble. So the ensemble code, I had enlisted the help of Daniel, because basically what I really wanted to do is have all these models running live at the exact same time, take that input, spit out the output, and then make it really simple for me to start working with it. So there's really no one better, definitely not me to do that task. So Daniel wrote this Chatbot ensemble code, which until, I guess I'll put some input here, hello. See if we get, no, we don't get any output yet, but we'll just wait for that. It'll come. It will come, maybe. I also have, well, actually in this, all the errors are going to be output. In the ensemble code, the way he sent it, Daniel sent it over, it was silencing all the errors, but then I think actually I opened it back up. So we'll probably see the errors. I'm just waiting to see like a real error, but I think we're all set here. Anyway, so while we're waiting for the single model to run, what I'm gonna, I can like hear it. Oh, it sounds so good. I should share. I love the sound of a GPU at work. The few times I've shared it, I used to have it as my channel intro, and people literally complained about it. Oh no, did I run? I think I ran train. Whoops, I think I must have run train. I recognize that too much. I meant to run inference. I've been constantly running train. I think that's probably what I did. Whoops. Let me check, make sure that cleared out memory. Yeah, good enough. Okay, Python inference.py. Oof. Okay, let's try that again. That should have been my flag. Anyway, now we'll wait for it to load. And while that's going, and I've been severely disrupted. This is what you get with an R&D video. My apologies. People seem to like the Kaggle one, though. So anyway, I can't remember what I was talking about before. Okay, so here's an example output. I literally said hello, and this is the output it gives. Let me zoom in for you guys. Let's see how good you can see that. Pretty good. Okay. How are you doing? So that's obviously like a terrible output. And so the outputs, basically each chatbot model has, I want to say it's called beam. I forget what it stands for, but you'll get, depending on how big your beam width is, I think. Again, it's been so long since we've had so many abstractions on top of the original NMT code that I honestly forget. But basically the model will output 10 responses. And in general, I want to say the default one chosen by the model is always the top response. And then I'm pointing at it, you can't see what I'm pointing at. This here is a score that I believe mostly Daniel wrote. And again, this was written probably 2 years ago or a year ago, and I don't remember how he was scoring them, but there's some problems with the score. And then again, just like what I'd like to have is possibly multiple scoring mechanisms, and those could also be an ensemble type method. So anyway, as you can see, that was no good. Let's try how are you doing. Okay, I'm good, thanks. That's a pretty good one. And then you can see these other ones. They're color-coded by how bad they are. So so this is the best one. And then these are all kind of pretty bad. As you'll see, they're just not finished sentences. It's I'm good, I'm just trying. I'm good, I'm just these aren't done. So we could use packages. I'm not too familiar with Spacey, I don't know if I'm even saying that right. But anyway, it's spelled Spacey. I could try that. I just don't know enough about that package to know if I can do what I'm thinking of, but I'm sure I can. But I know like with NLTK, I could use NLTK to know, is this a complete sentence? Is it a coherent thought? So that would be a really good way to score outputs. My curiosity is how quickly I can do that. but that will probably be the next step after I do what I'm thinking of doing today, because there are far easier ways to judge these outputs. So one way that I'm pretty confident is actually included in this Daniel score that I'm going to call it from now on is does it end with punctuation? So none of these end with punctuation. One thing that I'm not sure is included, but that I would like to include is any repetition. So if it's like I'm good and then I'm something else, like generally those are pretty bad, like just from what I've seen. But we can continue. What's your favorite color? Blue eyes. Black and white, black and black. Okay. What's your job? I'm a software engineer. Okay, these are pretty good. I mean, this one's doing pretty good. This will be the largest, the latest model. So this is the one that has been training the longest. So as time has gone on, this one has actually had pretty good responses. But one of the things, like, so just like having a valid response and then having like a really thorough response are like two totally different things. So some of the models have had longer responses that were just really interesting responses, like very not always the same, I guess. Like a lot of times the chatbot wants to gear itself towards very short, quick responses. So that's another thing. I would like to kind of have some sort of length value as well. Length, but without repetition. Okay, so something like that. Again, I'm just going to be trial and erroring. Again, this is just pure R&D. But then here you can see, yeah, so like the problem here is, yes, it's long, but it's all repetitive. Like we don't want repetitive stuff. Yeah, so I think you get the idea. So this is just one model, and we could continue asking questions, but you know, some of them are good, some of them are bad. What's your GPU? Yeah, so I mean, like this is pretty good. I mean, that's not bad at all, and like really a lot of these are pretty good responses. Trying to think of like a decent. Where do you vacation? I'm in Singapore. I mean, these are pretty good responses. To be honest, I haven't really played with this model too much, but I know there are certain outputs that are not that great. So, like, for example, there's our ensemble. Let me go into, what would it be, model? And then usually we can load by the latest. Whoops, not that way, this way. There we go. So then, like, these are all just outputs. Sorry if some of these are not the nicest. Also, this one is very short. I guess that's okay. Yeah, so, like, not all of these are very coherent. You know, like this, I don't even know what that's in response to. It's a song, not a song. That's, I don't really care what that's in, like, so, like, these are just replies, so every new line is a reply. And, like, that, I don't like that one. Some of these are terrible replies. What's alone? Nice, I'll check it out. It's time to stop. Business Insider. When I upload these videos, I check the box, not for children. I'm just saying. Okay, anyway, so you can, at least even in this one, we can see not all of these responses are ideal. And obviously those were just responses, not even paired to the input, so we don't even know if they were related to the input, because sometimes the output is not even related to the input. But I think we'll see that better when I do the ensemble. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and break this. And I guess you'll just have to take my word for it that sometimes the responses are just bad, like hello. So so at least that was one that we can prove. But when we do the ensemble, we'll be able to see tons of stupid ones. So a brief overview of the code for ensemble, or at least what's happening. I'm not going to go over the code. It's not even my code. Again, Daniel wrote this section. I made the request and he did it. So what I have here is basically we are going to run models. This is the number of steps in that model. So we're going all the way up to 259,000 steps. I believe that's the one we just looked at some of the outputs for, and that's the one we were just running live inference on. But as the thing has trained, I've been watching outputs, and these are kind of just as it was training, I kind of liked some of the outputs. So maybe they were very long, maybe it had very unique outputs, not a lot of repetition, good answers, funny answers, stuff like that. I was like, yeah, let's save that version. So what we have here is 2 of these got commented out. So it's a total of 22 of these 20 layers of 1,024 nodes per layer models. That's a lot of models, by the way. Again, just running all those on the 2 RTX 8000s. Okay, so basically it's going to run all of these and pull, and it's any input we pass is going to basically inference against all of the models, and then we're just going to output all of that code now, or all of the responses rather. So I'm going to run inference.py, but really the code that we're going to be modifying is this from sources model ensemble, and then model ensemble we're going to be modifying live ensemble inference. Later we can also generate a huge list of these responses using ensemble inference just here. And either that way or via live ensemble inference or something. What I'm thinking I can do is I can generate some example outputs and then share those on like a gist or something like that. That way, if anybody else has some ideas that they want to try to make their own kind of scoring mechanism, you'll be able to, and you can share it with us. And again, I'll give full credit anybody who has a good one anyways. So, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to head into model ensemble and then this live ensemble inference code. So we're going to pop into sources, model ensemble.py. I need to set my default editor. Okay, so what's going on here, it doesn't really matter. What's being commented out here is all the errors that, errors and warnings and just that kind of stuff. So we're just not going to look at that. And then here is the code. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Here's the code that we're going to be working with. But the first thing I'm going to do is, again, this is not my code. This is Daniel's code. So because I'm going to be mucking around, I'm going to copy that whole thing. And I'm just going to save that for the time when I inevitably screw something up. I'm going to do my best to just code around this code because it's just not mine. But yeah, so let's go ahead and save that. And before we go too far, let's go ahead and run an example. So let's back it up here and let's run inference.py. So Python inference.py. This is going to take a while for this. We're going to see all this. Again, we're seeing all this because I am not silencing all those warnings. Oh, man. I can't tell you how many like clients I've worked with who we do like deep learning stuff with. And even though these warnings aren't bad, they want them to go away. Like certain people are just so bothered by output. So if that's you, I apologize. Also, let's just go ahead and I forget if it was a capital H or a lowercase h. I don't think it matters, but I'm gonna just toss this in. We don't have that little symbol right now, but it was there. It's way earlier, but all these warnings kind of got in the way. Anyway, I'm gonna hit. Oh, it's already ready. Wow. So as you can see, hello, what was the input? I can't even remember. Let's try it lowercase. But as you can see, there's at least one decent hello. Also, what's General Kenobi? That's in a lot of these. General Kenobi. I'm tempted to Google it, but again, this is all from Reddit. I'm sure that's totally a benign reference to something I just don't know about. Someone comment below if that's safe for work. Okay, so maybe this is the one? It's weird because I'm kind of seeing different responses than I swear we just saw. Now I want to check. I'm sorry, I just have to check. Was that the latest 254? Oh, no. Oh, because I moved these. So we have a 261,000. Okay, so this isn't the 261,000 model. Maybe we should, I might move back in the 261 because that one actually had okay outputs that at least I saw initially. But as you can see even here, like I'm not sure what the deal is with this score, Daniel. Really a lot of these. But as you can see, they're in there. The good answers are all over the place in here. We just have to find them. So this is running all 22 models. Where are you from? Oh, I don't know if this mic is picking up that noise, but that is a wonderful noise. I love that noise. Where are you from? I'm from New Zealand. Fantastic response. South Africa. I'm from England. I'm from Australia. Obviously, he doesn't know where he's from. Are you a machine? I'm an electrical engineer. I'm a software engineer. It's funny because all of these are, again, this is all Reddit, right? So in theory, we should have a whole grouping, but over time, and as it's gone through Reddit, clearly software engineers, computer science, and electrical engineers, just like engineering, I guess that's what Reddit's for that. I'm an engineering student. Oh, here we go. No, I'm an astronaut. Okay, so some of these are cool. A lot of them are terrible. and so on. So one option is we could just take every response that has a pretty good high rating, and then look further. But I'm tempted to kind of start building my own version of a score first, and then we'll combine the two scores and try to find good answers. Because then we might also try to, I might have a separate model that just looks for coherence, and then we check score, stuff like that. Because the other thing is, like, a lot of times the emojis don't come through, at least in the Daniel score, but I like you kind of want that, right? So we did an emoji there. At least this one is a proper one. But here we choose just a bunch of pounds rather than the emoji. Yeah, so we're like missing a bunch. Like, and then here, why was it the colons? I honestly don't know. Like I said, that's not my code. And like the heart, we don't get any of those, but like that's a really common one, especially to end on. So when people end on emojis, a lot of times they don't end on a proper punctuation, so we'd want to handle for that. But anyway, so now that we are this far, what we want to do is take this data and then maybe apply our own score to it, just to start working with it. So we gotta wrangle a few things together first. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna come over here, and basically every question that gets asked, we're gonna just build a big old dictionary that is, really we just need the answers. I'm not really sure I care for the score at the moment, but we'll go ahead and take inf answers. We'll make that a dictionary. I can't decide if I just want to make it a list or a dict, but I guess we'll leave it this way. And then basically my hope for this dictionary will be, let me make sure this is, actually I think this is correctly sized. I must have done it already, I don't know. Anyway, inf answers. Basically my plan here is to be like answer, score. There we go. So, and this will be the D score, or the Daniel score first, and then we'll kind of go from there. So the first thing we have to figure out is, where is it? Comment below if you think this is a PEP8 acceptable line. How long this line is. Yeah, I think we could have some like formatting on that line, but okay. So what I'm after for I in response, enumerate, for I and enumerate. So actually we're not looking necessarily, like this is clearly one of them, but we're enumerating, so we're probably going to grab an index somewhere over here. If Chatbot answer, so response scores I. So I'm going to copy that, and let's see if we can find response, and then scores I. Bad response threshold. Response answers I. So that should be, so the answer will be response answers at that index, and then the score is response scores, plural, I. So if response is none, otherwise, we're going to iterate through them, and then I am now going to save all of them. So I'm going to say inf answers, that's the score. So we're going to say equals the score, plural. I feel like that should be score, like singular, but let's say score, what was it? Answer? Answer? I think it was answer, not singular, and then score was the plural, but now I have to go figure that one out. Response scores. Okay. We'll find out. We'll get an error if that doesn't work. Okay, so now we have built this dictionary that we can then, when everything is done, hopefully come down here and begin working through answers, working through any sort of rules that we want to run on here. But I think the smartest thing for us to do is to like print this once, because we're going to do a lot of R&D, and running this over and over and over is going to be a pain. So we're going to say inf answers. We'll just print that out. I'm trying to think of a good question. I'm going to ask it I know. Okay, I've got my question. I want something that's like somewhat challenging to answer, but okay, inf answers. Okay, we're going to save that and let us hope. Let's break this and then we'll rerun it, ask our question, and then we should print out the full full dictionary, and then we'll make a separate file to work with it. And I think this is the sort of thing I can kind of share with you guys. Look at all these warnings and stuff. How do you sleep? Ah, it's still erroring. I want to ask it how it sleeps at night. I'm just going to ask a quick question, and then we'll get to it. Key error answer. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Answer. Why? Answer. Hold on. Hold on. Right? Chatbot answers. Inf answers. I've probably made some sort of stupid mistake, but we just want that answer. We get the score. If it's the max, it'll be green. Otherwise, and score. Response scores, response answer, whoops. And, oh my, it is plural. What? Are you kidding me? It is plural. Oh, and now I understand why the score was plural. Okay, I'm following. Okay. Okay, answers. Because it's a list of answers, and that's at that index. Copy that. Okay. Duh. All right, we'll try it again. I'm just going to run a quick hello just to get an output, and then once we get our output, hopefully we'll have something that... And like, this is why I want to hurry up and get that dictionary, so then we can get away from working with this. Hear it. It's going. There she is. Beautiful. Okay, so let's ask something. How do you sleep at night? That's a wonderful sound. I love that noise. Okay, so we have a big dictionary. How do you sleep at night? I'm drunk. I'm sleep deprived. I don't wake up in the morning. There's a lot of I don't wake ups in the morning variations of that. That's kind of funny. I don't wake up at night. When I wake up in the morning, and then that's a terrible one. Okay, so yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this entire dictionary. Copy. And we'll come into here. And what I'm going to say is nanotest.py. I'm just going to say start. Cool. Now I've got a test.py. Open that in Sublime. And we're going to say inf underscore answers equals, actually, it'll just be already this. Boom. Okay. So I think println inf answers. For the record, I think this defaults still to the Python 2 build. I need to set that to, again, this is a new machine, so there's a lot of things I haven't properly set up yet. So at some point, especially if I use f strings or something, I'm going to need to not run this down here in the shell, so bear with me. Okay, println, so we have 168 answers. How do we even begin to sort these answers? Well, the first thing is, does it end on a punctuation or an emoji? So, so one thing you could do is you can import string, and then I want to say you can say print string.punctuation. Run that, and you can see here, these are all available punctuations. I'm not going to use that though, mostly because a lot of times, for whatever reason, the chatbot likes to end on like I apostrophe. So it like doesn't finish the I'm. And I think that the bot has learned that you end on a punctuation, and oftentimes the ending punctuation could acceptably, you know, you could have like this is the end, right? So in theory, you could end on that upon that like quote, I guess. But anyway, as a problem. So what I want to do probably is specify my own punctuation or my own acceptable endings. Okay, and in this case, it could be a single quote, but I don't want that. So I'm gonna say it could end on a double quote. It could end on a period. It could end with a smiley face, right? Or, you know, ending parentheses for whatever reason. I'm going to allow it to end on a 3 for, you know, if it has a heart. That's a pretty common ending. Obviously, a question mark, an exclamation mark. And I guess we could look down here and see if we think there's anything else. Do we have a period? Yeah, okay. Okay, so I think that's good enough. We might later add more to that, but I think for now, those will be acceptable endings. The other one would be maybe some sort of like emoji. You know, that might be a thing that happens. So I don't know if I want to include that or not, because the original Charles Chatbot, out of nowhere, will use even Discord emojis, which was kind of shocking because there's no emoji, like it's trained only on Reddit, and yet it used some Discord emojis. Like if you do like a beer clanking emoji or whatever, you know, like a cheers, it'll do a cheers back, which I don't know how I learned that, but okay. So maybe that, I don't know. Anyway, I'll allow it for now, especially because I guess sometimes people do those backwards smileys, right? So you could say like that. Whoops. Right? So we'll allow it for now. Okay, that's an acceptable ending. So now what we're going to say is for answer in inf answers if if ants -1 in acceptable endings, print ants. And I'm going to go ahead and use the full answer just so we're not jerk. Answer. Just so we're not using too shorthand, because this is probably going to get messy pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and print answer. So these are all answers that, and I just thought, at some point I'm probably going to score. So you guys, don't let me forget. I'm going to score things, and then we're going to at some point try to sort this dictionary. And because this is Python 2, it will not sort. I guess we could use a sorted dict, but I refuse. So so then I'll have to start running it in the interpreter, so or like in the terminal. So hopefully I don't forget that. So these are all acceptable ending answers at the moment. I'm sleep deprived and I'm not awake yet. I've been sleeping for a few days. You can't wake me up. I'm awake. I'm awake now. So maybe that's the next thing I would fix. So so repetition is both repetition and how many times the AI uses the word I especially, is a problem. So the next thing I'm going to say is lowered answer equals answer.lower. So this will kind of normalize everything just in case. In this case, the sentence starts with I'm, but sometimes it won't. So you might have like one word that just, it's at the beginning of the sentence, so it gets capitalized, and then the other word is lowercase, and then we think, oh, there's no match, but there is match. So we're just going to normalize everything by lowering it. And then basically what I want to know is four word, or no, what is, I guess we'll call this words, and then that will equal, I guess we could split by space and then trim. I don't know. Let's say strip rather. I.strip. There's got to be a better way than this. Again, if you were using NLTK, and I'm sure Spacey, you could just say like tokenize, okay, and it would do this. But this is okay. I.strip for I in lowered answer dot split by spaj words. Cool. Let's go ahead and print words, and then I'll just break here. When I wake up. Okay, cool. When I wake up, feeling like I'm doing. Okay. Did that really? Oh, okay. Yeah, just had to copy that. Let's also set a flag. Acceptable end equals false. And then if it has an acceptable ending, we'll say acceptable it should be worth something, I guess, if it ends on a punctuation. So I'm going to say 0. And then we're going to say acceptable end. If it has one, we'll say that's equal to... Maybe we'll have a constant up here. Let's just say acceptable end val. I'll set that to 5 for now. Because eventually we'll put this all into some scoring formula. So that definitely worked, at least. Then we're going to say words. We don't want to require necessarily that it has that. If we did, we could just tab everything over, I suppose. But I'm not sure I want to require everything has that, but we could. So instead of, so at the moment the score is basically 0. Well, I'll leave it for now. I don't think I want to do that, so I'm not going to set that. But so, okay, so we have words, print the words. So then what we want to do is for word in words, count, I guess, will be equal to words.count word. If C is greater than 1, let's add up here, repetitions equals 0. Repetitions equals 0. And then if it's greater than 1, what we're going to say is repetitions plus equals C minus 1, because we obviously don't want to like kill it. So like if they say I twice, it should just be like, okay, you got 1 repetition. But if they say I 3 times, okay, you've got 2 repetitions. So now what we're going to say, are we still breaking? Yes. So now what we're going to say is print repetitions for when, okay, wake and wake, I and I, up and up, right? What else am I missing? When I wake up. Yeah, I guess we got to do this too. Print word, right? So I wait. Oh, okay. So it hits it twice because it got back to that other word. I see. I'm gonna let it go. So we'll just kind of be double penalized, but it's all gonna pour into a formula, so it's still gonna scale linearly as I intend it to. So, basically at the end you could divide repetitions by 2 if you wanted to be perfect. But yeah, I love how I had to sit on that for a few seconds, be like, what? Dummy. Okay, so we have repetitions. We have, so at this point we could already begin scoring something. So another decent, I think, is the length. So as long as there's not repetition, the length is actually good. Like the longer it is, because again, the chatbot tends towards really short responses, and I think that's just because in the chatbot itself, the more words that it gets like wrong, the more it's going to be penalized, like in the loss function. So I think that's why it tends towards short responses. So the times where the chatbot produces long responses, a lot of times those are like really cool responses. So I want more of those because it's cool when it's a very long response, as long as it's a good one. So so now let's do length. So for answer and inf answers, basically length should be answer length will be equal to len words. So we have length, we've got repetitions, and we've got acceptable ending. So at the very beginning, what we could say is like we could make a really rudimentary score. So we could just say, I'm going to call it H score because later we might have a D score. So H score will be equal to let's say answer length. So it should be, I'm going to put this in answer length. Answer length. I'm trying to think if there's anything else plus acceptable end val, I guess. Answer length. It could either be plus or maybe like times 2 or something. I don't know. I'm just making this up right now. So answer length plus acceptable end. Right? Is that the acceptable end? Yeah. And then what I'll do is divide it by repetitions. Okay, so there's our H score. Let's go ahead and print H score. Print H score. So this gives it a 2, but I think over time we're going to need we need to know more of the scores. So now what I want to do is let's stop the print there. I just want the score. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to think about how we're going to do this now. H scores, and then we'll have answer score, right? That'll be how we're going to structure that. So we will now, so we'll say H scores answer equals H score. I think that's good. And then at the end, let's print H scores. So then what we need to do is stop the break, rerun it, div by 0, of course. If it has no repetition, you're going to have a problem. Repetitions, do we have, okay, we'll just start repetitions as a 1. Done. Okay, so now we have quite the list, and now what we want to do, I've been sleeping for a few days. Okay, so now what we want to do is possibly, now we need to sort it. So I don't, man, sorting dicts, and then, because basically we want to sort the dictionary and then like maybe go in reverse order or something. So I don't know off the top of my head. So we're gonna grab the old Google, sort dictionary by values, sort dictionary by values, Python. Maybe I've already searched this on here. Cool. Sort a dictionary by value. Yeah. If you want the output as a dict, so item 1, let's just grab this and we'll see what this does. And then the other thing we want is the max dict value as well. So oh, actually, we'll just do that down here. So we're going to say sorted H scores equals key for key value in H scores dot items. So then print, so we'll print sorted H scores. Oh yeah, I can't do that here. Yeah, it's not going to work. Let's go, we'll run this in terminal, Python, Python now, yeah, 3.7. So Python test.py, cool. So here is actually sorted how we intend it to be sorted. How do you sleep at night? I'm not A. Interesting. So some of these other ones, I'm not A. I don't wake up in the morning. I wonder why that was ranked. Or, oh, okay, these are all 9s. And then finally, at the end, we get, I wake up in the morning. Where's the end? How come I can't see it? I swear that's not giving me... Maybe because I resized it and then we're just like not seeing, or maybe I'm blind. Anyway, when I wake up, I'm going to sleep at... When I wake up, I'm going to sleep at night. I've been awake for a few days. I don't wake... So like at the moment when I look at this, I wonder, you know, why, you know, this one is only ranked better than the other ones because it's longer. But when I wake up, I'm going to sleep at night versus I don't wake up. So the difference between those, I would say, I think what we want to do, this may or may not work, but one of the things I'd be curious about is an I count. So I count equals 0, and either we can subtract it at the very end, or we could add like I count to what we're dividing here. It just depends on how much we want to punish for the I count. So the next thing that we're going to do is, I guess here, I don't know. In fact, we're going to cut this, paste, I count equals answer.count, the number of times a capital I occurs, and then we'll take I count, and I'm going to put it down repetitions. We're gonna really penalize for I count. So we'll save that. Come back over here. You can't wake up. One I is okay. Maybe what we'll do is I count. Let's do I count -1. I count answer -1. Yeah, because I don't want to like kill it just because it had one eye. -1. Shoot, I can't think of how to... Dang it! Because I don't want it to be a I don't want it to be a 0. I guess it would be 0. No matter what, if there's no eye, really, like 1 eye, I want to be acceptable. Like 1 or 0 eyes. Like 1 or 0 eyes is okay. But more is not. And so what I can't decide is... So 0... Can I just say if... My brain is not happy anymore. If I count is less than 0, right? Because if it's 0, it becomes -1. Then we're going to say I count equals 0. And I guess we'll pep8 that. That's the kind of line that I really wish was acceptable for me to just leave on one line, though. Okay, so let's run that. I don't wake up in the morning. I've been awake for a few days. I've been sleeping for a few days. Okay, so all 3 of those were ranked 12. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So if we did, let's say get max, get key for max value Python dictionary. Man, my internet is going so slow. Key. Oh, you also probably can't see that. Getting key with maximum value in dictionary. Will that work? The other thing I'd want to do possibly is get... Can I... I wonder, because it stays ordered, I don't even know. Can I do this? Print, honestly don't know. It's embarrassing that I don't know, but let's just try that. I bet it won't work in 2.7 because there is no order, but I wonder if it works here. No, I can't hash. Okay. Or I can't slice it. What if we convert it to a list? I still want to know, like, can I because I know we can do that max thing. Oops. Okay. I know we can do the max thing, but I sometimes I want to get like just the top end responses. Like I don't want just the top response. Like I'd like to work with what are the best ones we think we have so far, and then kind of go from there. Because doing things like, is this a funny response or is this coherent, means we're going to have to use something like Spacey or NLTK. Doing that on all of the responses will take a while, but if we can kind of filter out a lot of responses first, that won't take as long. Same thing if I end up trying to use some sort of deep learning algorithm to analyze a sentence and determine, is this, you know, funny or sarcastic, or is this like a good response or not, the less we have to go through, the better. So I wouldn't mind being able to take like the top N. So I wonder if I could just say print K for K in sorted H scores -5 : Can I do that? Will you let me do it? Okay, I think this is right. I don't wake up in the morning. I've been awake for a few days. I've been sleeping for a few days. I don't wake up at night. And another answer. How do you sleep at night? That's a funny one. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so that's one way that we could get a handful. And then otherwise we can get just like the top one using, hopefully this. We'll see what happens. Max stats key. Okay, whoop. Where is our dict? Okay, so that's how we can do, maybe get a slice of the best. Again, this requires Python 3.6 plus or sorted dict. So if you're on Python 2, you can, like, from collections import sorted dict, I want to say, or ordered dict rather. Yeah. Okay. Also, max of... Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know you could actually... That's cool. Okay, so max of sorted high scores. So in this case, we have 3. So it should just kind of randomly pick one, I suppose. So Python test.py. I've been sleeping for a few days. That's always I've been sleeping for a few days, apparently. Yeah, I don't really know, because all these have like the same rank, so I wonder why that doesn't ever change, but okay. Whew. All right, so I think at this point, because we have a decent slice here of plausible good answers, what I'd like to do is let us come down here and let's print. Well, actually, what we'll do, well, first let me say here, let's say top N. Later we might have top N equals this. I'm going to comment that out. I'm going to comment that out, so we don't need that anymore. I'm going to say for, oops, I need to stop. We're going to definitely have to wrap this one up. Okay, print, I would say for N, or for answer in top N, print, answer. Okay, so let's save that. Let me run that real quick, make sure that works. It's pain. I don't wake up at night. I've been sleeping for a few days. I've been awake for a few days. I don't wake up in the morning. Okay, that looks good. So what we're ready to do, I think, is port this over to modelensemble.py. So I'm going to copy that, come down here, make sure, yep, we've got that saved. So basically all we're doing is at the inf answers, we come in here, bloop. Since I'm going to zoom out because we're making such a monumental change here. Inf answers. So I'm going to tab. No longer do we need to specify that because we're going to have unique ones. We don't need the length anymore. We don't even really need to print inf answers. What we need to do, let's grab the question, because by the time we get down here, we'll have already printed out all that other junk, and we're going to forget a lot of times probably what the exact question was. So let's go ahead and print question, and then we'll get the responses. Let's save that, and we will come over. Have I just let this run the whole time? Do we have model or NVIDIA? Let's do watch NVIDIA SMI. Yowzers. Okay, we just left that running. Hopefully that didn't muck up the recording. A lot of times when wow, I'm just killing that. It's killing my recording. Hopefully that didn't screw anything up, but the show must go on. So Python inference.py in chat ensemble. We'll start with a good old-fashioned hello, and we'll know as soon as we start seeing crazy things. I will definitely, I gotta put a microphone up to that and let you guys hear it. I guess a lot of people don't like that noise, but I just love that noise. I hear it. It's thinking. Hello, 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 hi. All of those are great. Remember, before we had terrible top responses. Hi, hello. Howdy Slicked, General Kenobi. Howdy Slicked, General Kenobi. Okay, here I gotta Google. Here's what I'm gonna do. Not Google. I don't use Google anymore. It's all about the DuckDuckGo. Now I just have to stop myself from saying Google. General Kenobi. What is this? I just don't know. Really? Star Wars reference? Okay. Urban Dictionary? I just don't know why we're what the. Hello there, General. Okay, I still don't get it. The response you give to someone that says hello there. So, hello there. And then repose teaching. Okay, whatever. Muscoti? I don't know. Okay, whatever. So, okay, those are good responses. Let's do a smiley. Oh, we still got these stupid. Oh, because I. Remember, I dissed on Daniel for allowing those, and now we have them. So one thing we could do, one thing I don't understand is why is that a response? But also one thing we could do is like when you see stuff like that, we could immediately issue a penalty for like any existence of colon, right? We could probably stop that. Thank you. My pleasure. You're welcome. See, these are great responses. Like, I would be happy with any of those responses. And we could even pick a random one, right? So as you saw with the single model, with just one model, you had a lot of times only one choice to go with, and this meant the chatbot would often respond in the exact same way, always. Especially to the same question, it will always respond in the same way. Whereas in this case, we're running 22 different models. That's essentially possibly 22 different variations in a response, which most of the time is good. What GPU do you have? Let's see. Yeah, all of these NVIDIA G4, these are all exceptional responses. How much did you pay for your GPU? About $100. I'm not sure if it's worth it too. Dang it. Around. It's not coherent. That would be a really hard one to figure out though. How much did you pay for your 1080 Ti? I'm not sure if it's worth it. $1,000. I'm not sure it's worth it. About $100. I'm not sure if it's worth it. Do you own any Bitcoin? What? Dude, that's a great response. I did. Oh man, that's hilarious. I just think that's one of the cooler things about these chatbots is, like, obviously it knows Satoshi Nakamoto is related to Bitcoin. Anyway, yeah, that is hilarious. That's great. I'm so happy when I see good responses. I'm sure we're going to start seeing, let's see, where do you live? I'm from upstate New York. I'm from New Zealand. North America, I'm in Oregon. South America, I'm in Oregon. Australia, I'm in the US. So some of those are, all of those are good responses, but some of them don't make any sense. I don't know what print we forgot about. What is that print that we forgot? Let's go to Ensemble. Print question, H score. Copy that. Let's go ahead and comment that out before I forget. I'm not going to rerun this, though, just because that's poking up there. Oh, because of that, we don't see our question, though. Oh, wait. Did I get lost? What's going on here? I'm going to move this. Okay. Where do you live? What do you do for a living? Make this a little bigger. I work full-time. I'm a PhD student. I'm sorry. I think that's a comical one. I'm currently living in the U.S. Okay, so in this case, he's kind of screwed up living. So where are you living versus what do you do for a living? I'm currently living in the middle of nowhere. What's your occupation? I'm a citizen. What's your occupation? Okay, so these are like locations. That's curious. What's your job? Software engineer. I don't have a job. Software engineer. I'm working on it now. I don't know what to do. I've been working on it for software engineer here. Working on it now. Do you have a Twitter? Nope, I'm in the U.S. Where did you read that? Curious if this will give us some subreddits. Nope, it's a quote from the movie, it's a quote from the book. I'm guessing you're in the wrong thread. Okay, now some of the other cool things that happened with the other chatbot was because it's Reddit, it's just comments and responses. Most of it is English. Let's see, first of all, what programming language do you know? I'm mostly Java and Java. Mostly Java. Just a matter of time. Okay, what's the best programming language? I will throw you away, computer. Just saying. Computer science. Okay, so these are not... Oh, did it... These must include new lines or something. That got kind of weird. Do you like Python? I'm using Python as my primary language. My favorite language is my second language. Native language. Okay, so one of the other things, hola amigo. Okay, so hello friend, gracias, de nada. Gracias amigo. ¿Cómo estás? Gracias por favor. So that's a good answer. So that's pretty good. I don't know some of these. I don't know es un chiste. I'm not sure what that means. He asked me where do I think that's where are you? Where do I live? What if I return that question? Pretty soon I'm going to need Google Translate up in the house. I can't. En el mundo. Huh. Okay. I'm going to have to start translating this. Darn it, I've got to use Google. I try to leave Google so hard and I just can't. So sad. Sí, pero sí. People that speak Spanish are already tired of me. Detect language, convert to English. So like that's not really a proper response. My guess is there's not a ton of Spanish responses. If I had to guess. But it is curious. Oops. Here. In the world, there is no problem. Let's see. I wonder, what if we see, hello, let's say hello. And let's ask in, How about Chinese? Simplified. Copy that. Let's come over here. Good luck. Hey, we get oh, I don't know what that says, but hopefully it's not bad. So let's go ahead and do some translations. Detect language. Whoops. Convert to English. I'm ready. Copy. So like in this case, hello, thank you. Not really. I think these are all the same. These all look the same. Okay, let's say, are you happy with that? And then let's say, let's put that in, maybe we'll do Korean. It's actually pretty surprising how many characters. Let's see if it even does anything Korean-wise. No. Negative. Okay, we could try in Chinese. And then maybe we'll try. Oh no. No! It died! Dang it! I was having so much fun. Okay, I think that's probably a stopping point for now. We've been at this for, what is the time? An hour and 6 minutes. Holy moly. Okay. R&D is so much fun. All right. I think that's it for now. Yeah, so like I think it's cool when there's like other things. Like when we first made the chatbot, I wasn't even thinking about other languages. And at least in Spanish, it kind of started to have some responses that were somewhat intelligible. Now I'm sure like most of them are not the greatest, but at least it knows Spanish is, it knows to respond back in Spanish, which is pretty awesome. So that's cool. But so yeah, like with NLTK, I don't even know, or Spacey, I'm not sure like how could we you know, make sure we retained and we didn't just filter out a bunch of these like other languages by doing things. I just don't know. Wow. Look at these long. Are you happy? What was that question? Are you happy with that? I wonder if I can just copy all of these rather than one at a time. Okay, let's bring that over here. Pasta. English, please. Yes, but I don't feel like doing anything. Thanks for the comment. No, but the truth is that I don't care about anything. Yes, but it doesn't seem to me are going to do anything to themselves. So, honestly, I think the Spanish, it's close. Like, it's not, like, we're more likely to get silly answers in Spanish that don't make much sense. But, like, this one's pretty good, and, or I guess you can't totally see it. So that one's good, and then this one's a good response, too. That's cool. I think that's so cool, you know, that it can do, at least Spanish has got a lot of work to do. Like the English ones are pretty good. Are you, what was the question? I can't remember. Are you happy? I can't remember if it was with that or now or what. No, I'm happy. Are you a machine? I'm a software engineer, mechanical engineer, computer engineer. No, I'm a computer engineer. No, I'm an engineering student. You engineers on Reddit are just obviously in huge quantity. Should we trust machines? Yes, we'll see what happens. No, they're owned by the government. No, they're owned by a corporation. Honestly, that is my answer to the dangers of deep learning. No, they're owned by the company. Yes, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, okay, so it's like, these are pretty good responses. So far, I'm pretty happy with this. Like I said, I think what I'll do is maybe I'll ask a few questions and then share a gist of like a few answers, and see if you guys can come up with anything good, because I bet right now we're probably still filtering out maybe some good ones that we should have included, but we're not. So I'll have to look more deeply into that. But actually, surprisingly, that was some really stupid filters, and that's looking pretty good. I'm pretty stoked about how good that looks right now. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop it here. If you've got questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, whatever, you can feel free to leave them below. If you like this kind of video, it's quite a long one. If you like this style, I can probably do more of these. Like I said, I spend most of my day kind of just tinkering like this. And I just historically haven't really thought to like make videos out of that, but I can do it if there's enough people who are interested in it, especially like right now, like I said, where people are just sitting at home begging for content. So, yep, that's it. Again, if you want to check out that Neural Networks from Scratch series, learning how to actually code neural networks from scratch, understand how they work, that way you can actually work with them and not solve basically problems that have already been solved for you, and then when you try to do something new, you have literally no idea how to do it. If you actually truly understand how neural networks work, it makes it much, much easier. So the book is set to be released in quite a few months still, but the draft for the book is already live, public. If you pre-order the book or even the ebook version, you get access to the draft pretty much immediately. I'm still adding people, like I add people manually because we have to use like Google Groups, and it looks like Google Groups was maybe developed in the 1960s. So I don't see a really easy way to automate that process. So it might take a few hours, but I'm adding people as they come. And also, if you think you should be added and you're not, just send me an email. Feel free to harass me. I don't mind. If you support me in the book, you're not going to bother me. So anyway, that's all for now. Maybe another section on this. I'm really curious about comical or sarcastic responses. The other thing I'm very interested in is images, links, and maybe subreddits. So specifically, sometimes linking about a subreddit or linking to a subreddit, like /r/some subreddit. So like I've seen it say like sometimes you ask like we'll see if it shows up. Where did you learn that? Wow, these are pretty terrible responses, not gonna lie. But yeah, so here's one. And so for example, this one got got dinged. So one thing I would do is if it's a subreddit, like this is /r/IamVerySmart, that's the best response. That's certainly better than any of these responses. So if it is just a subreddit, like this would be very easy for like a regular expression. So find any scenario where you've got / /r/ and then any amount of text until there is no text. Like if there's a space, no good. But if it's just simply a subreddit, that actually might be a comical response or a decent response. And actually, I would take that response over any of these responses. So that's one thing that I'd like to do. I'm a teacher. I wish we had that over any of these responses. I like these. I mean, these are funny. You know, learn programming, learn Python. Yeah, okay. 10 out of 10. Learned it from the Donald. So, and this is just a perfect example of how much the chatbot can change. Like, this is the same question, just 19,000 steps later, it learned everything from R the Donald, okay? And then 6,000 steps later, right? It's a book or something. Some more steps later, it learned, you know, I'm from Australia. That's not even a good answer. Then literally 1,000 steps later, now it's about subreddits again. All of these would have been great. So, yeah. So still lots of work, lots of things that have been filtered out, but are actually acceptable responses. So I'll try to come up with a few that, one, are, I think, already decent responses, and then some that, like, I wish it captured things like this, or I think maybe what I'll do is I'll come up with some that have outputs like this, where it's like, that's not right. None of those are good ones, and either you guys, or I'll keep working on it, or get Daniel on board, because he'll solve it, and figure that out. Those are the next steps. Anyway, that's been going on long enough. I will see you guys in some other video in some other time.